I'm going to take a break from my normal vlogging to talk about some different camcorders that you may want to use if you decide you want to vlog on YouTube as well. All of these camcorders that I'm talking about are between $100 and $150, and none of them have really worked out great. So this is largely a lesson in what not to buy. If you have similar conditions as I do for filming, I decided to set up an indoor place with, this is a muslin background, M-U-S-L-I-N. It was like $30 or something like that. And if you look at earlier videos that I did, up till about the last 20 or so, you'll see that the fabric behind me was shining more, and that distorted the colors of my face and so forth. So I think it's a good investment to get some muslin. And for lighting, I decided, I don't want to be limited to only doing videos when the lighting outside is nice and I can, open windows or whatever. So I decided, well, I'll get a 100-watt bulb above me, and then another 100-watt bulb in front of me that's slightly indirect with some frosted glass. But you have to be careful with 100-watt bulbs that you only use them with lamps that can handle that high of wattage. So that's the conditions that I'm under. And I think, camcorders, these cheaper ones, if you have optimal lighting conditions, then you can get good pictures. But if you're doing indoor vlogging like me, you might run into these problems, which is why I'm going to show you, talk about 4 different camcorders. And if you have had a better experience with one, put it in the comments section, and share with others what you find works well. There's no reason to have a standard definition camcorder anymore. You might as well go high def. But for myself, the quest is still on. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is the Sony Webbie. This is one of the types that they have. They have another model as well. And it has, flip screen and everything like that. But if you look in my earlier videos that were orangish tint, like my face looked like a Oompa Loompa or a member of Jersey Shore, that is filmed on this one, which appropriately enough is orange colored on the outside. It sometimes towards the end of its reign, I did a lot of videos on this one, it had a pretty good external microphone or internal microphone, no external microphone jacks like most of these, but it started to lose focus sometimes. And the one that I'm talking on right now, which I'll talk about later, it loses focus sometimes too. It might happen during this video, but it regains it. This one would lose focus and the focus would not come back, rendering the video essentially useless when I found out later that the focus had gone bad. So I can't recommend the Sony Webbie. It's also MHS-CM1. No. The next one I tried after this, and used this for quite a while. It blanched out the colors a little bit compared to the one I'm on right now, but it had pretty good clarity and fairly good skin tone. I'll explain why there's duct tape on it in a minute. It is the Toshiba Camille, and it's like a H30. And again, it has the flip screen, and you can have it pointing at you. You really want to have one pointing at you. And one of the reasons I bought this one is because it has a remote control that comes with it, which I think if you are doing these kind of videos, then it's great to just be able to stop and start remotely, so you don't have to go like this at the beginning and end of each video. So I liked a lot about this, but one thing that I didn't realize till I did 50 or whatever videos on it was that the sound was horrible, and people that I know couldn't hear it when they tried it out. But you know, I am able to attach my laptop to my living room speakers, and so I can turn up volumes, and so to me it was fine. But I read online that at least another person had found that the internal microphone on this was so bad that it rendered it essentially useless. So that gets to the duct tape. And what I did to try to make it functional was take apart this the screen and rewire. There was two little tiny that ain't gonna help it. There was two tiny little speakers inside of it. I'll pick it up. And I clipped those out and I rewired them to hey, it's still on, so that's something to be said, but I can't recommend this one either. I rewired it to this little jack so that I could put an external microphone into it to see if that would help the sound issue. And it really didn't. You know, of course, if you have something externally attached to it, you know, like this, and you hold it closer to your mouth, it's going to be better. But it was still very, very quiet, because even if you put, you know, if you do a modification, little DIY thing, and put in your own external mic jack, internally it's not going to automatically increase the volume just because you've done that. So this one's no good. And then yesterday I received this, which was really dumb for me to purchase because it does not have a flip screen. It is a Kodak ZI8, similar to flip cams or whatever they're called, and but very well reviewed, and I'm sure for outside viewing it'd be great. But first of all, since it doesn't have a flip cam, I ordered a remote control separately for it, by the way, and that worked. But because it doesn't have a flip screen that you can turn around and look at, it's horrible for vlogging. I had put a mirror behind it so that I could line myself up and make sure that my head was in the rectangle. But I could not get the lighting to work on this, and the focus was horrible also. I'm sure for outside it's fine, but for indoor vlogging, terrible. And the internal microphone, there was a little high-pitched buzz I could hear, and I tried it. This is the only one out of the ones I'm reviewing that actually comes with an external microphone jack, which is another reason I purchased it. But it does not work very well in most cases. There's still a little bit of a background buzz even with an external mic, except for this one I used, which is like $90, kind of a generic shotgun microphone that I found on eBay that said it was compatible with the Kodak ZI8, this little guy. But, you know, this will be fine for outdoor stuff, but even then, you know, I'm not real pleased with the audio on this one as well. So that leads us to the last one, which I'm filming on, so I won't be showing you this, but it is the aiptek, which is aiptek Action HD. I think it's sometimes abbreviated as AHD, but I know it as Action HD as on the box. And this one I also modified the audio. And the main problem by putting an external jack on it, because it's so dumb that they put the internal microphone on the flip screen, so if you flip it around so you can look at yourself, as I'm doing now, the microphone is pointing in the opposite direction. Absolutely ridiculous. And all they, you know, if they would have put it in a more intelligent place, that might have helped somewhat. But it was still not good quality. You need it to be loud enough so that most people can hear your videos, even if they don't have like an enhanced audio speakers hooked up into their computer. So I went ahead, I modified this by putting in an external jack, and that leads to, this is like a GE microphone, and it has a little bit of a jack right there, and then I put this one into it, and some other microphones I've tried. This one, like I had for karaoke machine, probably 15-20 bucks or something like that. Not good. And the thing about the shotgun one I showed you is that it has an internal battery, so that seems to help the audio. A couple other microphones that I've tried. This one is by Sony. Something 30 is the number, and I don't see the number right now. Not bad, but not great. And then this microphone came with this stand, so it was originally plugged in there, and then I modified this with a little bit of foam over the top, which I think is good. If you're using a microphone, get foam for it, or get one that has foam. But I've really found that this microphone seems to work the best. My voice sounds most realistic on it, and the other ones it sounds more tinny, and I think that has to do with the fact that it has a battery that comes with it. But the aiptek, the main complaint that I have with this, I think the color is pretty good, and after modifying it, I can get some decent sound. But the sound, I would not recommend doing what I did unless you're really used to tinkering with electronics and know what you're doing, because it is not easy to try to modify it and attach your own external microphone to these things. But the focus, though, the 3, 4, 5 videos I've done so far in it, I've had focus problems on at least 3 or 4 of them. So it does come back, if the focus is lost, it does come back again. But my goodness, it shouldn't be this hard, people. I mean, if I had components from each of these camcorders, I've had the autofocus of the Toshiba Camileo and the color of this aiptek Action HD. The sound, I thought the sound was pretty decent on my Sony Webbie. I don't know what I'd use from I don't think I'd use anything from the Kodak ZI8. But, putting them all together could make a decent camcorder. But I can't believe that all these people that manufacture these things don't test them out in these kinds of conditions and say, you know what, this isn't good enough. We need to keep working on this. It's just having decent color, decent autofocus that doesn't go out of focus all the time, and decent sound. Preferably stereo. It shouldn't be that tough, and it shouldn't be that expensive to put something like that together. So if you found a good camcorder, low end, $100 to $200 range, put it in the comments and let people know about it so they have a good option. Thanks for listening.